class is called Get Grounded. It's going to be a low to the ground class where everything we do is either going to be lying on our back, seated, or in quadruped. So we won't be doing any standing movements. It's great for if you're feeling a little bit lower energy, but still get some movement in. So we're going to start on our backs. Getting ready for bridge pose. And really ground down here. Feel the back of your skull on the ground or the mat, your shoulder blades or your scapula onto the mat, and your sacrum. Really feel that sacrum right above the tailbone down. We're going to make a fists up toward the ceiling, and the elbows are going to come down right to the sides of the body. And we're going to squeeze and ground down through the elbows as we lift the hips into a low bridge. So again, we want to kick the glutes on and really drive those elbows down as hard as you can while holding that neutral pelvis. Ground down through your feet, press into the big toes, the heels, almost like you're trying to grip the ground underneath you as if you could pick up some sand between your toes. So we're really just feeling this grounding down into the mat, holding that neutral pelvis, glutes active, arms working. Slowly lower your upper back, middle back, and lower back down. Good, let your arms rest. We're gonna lift for one more bridge. Really press into your feet, curl the tailbone up, squeeze your glutes in order to lift the hips into a little bit of extension. It's just a low bridge. Really feel like those pelvic points could draw in. Make a fist, and this time we'll reach the fist up toward the ceiling and begin to circle the wrists both directions. Hold that neutral pelvis. Think about lifting your pubic bone up towards your belly button as you circle the fists. Hands will come back along the sides of your body. Slowly lower your upper back, middle back, and lower back down. Interlace your hands behind your head. Draw the elbows in and really ground that sacrum down. Feel the low back on the mat. Big breath here. Exhale, lift up off your shoulder blades. Tuck your chin towards your throat. Really feel the low belly pull down toward the sacrum and the sacrum on the mat. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift up off your shoulder blades. Tuck your chin towards your throat. Think about leaning your head back into your hands without that action lowering back onto the shoulder blades. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift up, lean your head back into your hands and knit those front ribs in. Feel the belly button ground down toward the sacrum. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift up. Belly button draws down. Feel the sacrum stay on the ground as you turn 1 inch to the right. Try to stay off this right shoulder blade. Come back to center. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift up, chin towards your throat. Belly draws down toward the sacrum. Turn your ribs 1 inch to the left. Stay off that left shoulder blade. Come back to center. Inhale to lower. Release your arms back to your sides. We're going to pick up the right foot or maybe hug that right knee in toward the chest. If it feels good, you can grab on top of that right shin as we begin to circle this right ankle. Both directions. Start to circle this right hip, circling both ways. Hold that pelvis still so the movement is just coming from that right hip. Flex your right foot, cross it over your left thigh. We're going to pause here. Feel the sacrum on the mat, the shoulder blades in the back of the skull. Right hand will press the right thigh away. As you press this right thigh away, hold that neutral pelvis by thinking about those two pelvic points drawing in toward each other. Release that right foot down. Pick up the left foot or hug the knee toward the belly. Maybe grab onto the shin if that feels good. And we'll circle this left foot now. Both directions. Circle that left hip joint. Make the circles as small as you need to make sure that it's really just that left hip doing the moving and not the pelvis rocking side to side. Flex your left foot, cross it over your right thigh. Check that triple S, back of the skull, scapula and sacrum. Keep your back grounded onto the mat. Left hand will press that left thigh away. Continue to draw those two pelvic points in. Deep breaths in and out. Release it down. Hug both knees in toward your chest. Either take a few rocks side to side or up and down if that feels good. Make your way into a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall, hold that pelvic bowl upright. Keep your shoulders stacking over the pelvis. We'll bring the right ear to the shoulder without anything changing about our posture. So keep it upright. As we stretch the left side of the neck, we're going to roll this left shoulder up and back. Really feel all of that movement in the shoulder blade. It glides up, pulls back, and squeezes down. Come back up. Left ear to the shoulder. Keep that upright posture. As you stretch the right side of the neck, roll that right shoulder up and back. Come back up. Extend your wrists so our palms are going to face forward. We'll spread the fingers and lower one finger down at a time, starting with the pinkies. Once you get to the thumbs, cross them over. Pull your knuckles back towards your forearms. Take a big inhale. Let it out through your mouth. Circle your fists in both directions. Extend the wrists, palms forward. Look at the hands as you lower one finger at a time. Starting with the pinkies, thumbs will cross over, pull the knuckles back. Big breath in, out through your mouth. Circle both directions. Make your way onto hands and knees, and we'll stretch out the back with cat-cow. Shoulders over your wrist, hips over your knees. Pelvis will tip forward and back as the back rounds and arches. Move at any pace that feels good. Come back to that neutral spine. Lift your throat. Think about a broom behind your back, touching the back of your skull, shoulder blades, and sacrum. Right foot will step through your hands. Left knee will stay down. Lifting for a low lunge. We're going to pause here and really check that pelvic bowl. Lift the pubic bone up, squeeze this left glute. We're going to reach the arms forward with the palms facing each other. Keep that left glute really strong so the low body doesn't move. We're going to make a fist with just the right hand. Bend the elbow back. Reach that right arm back as the ribs start to rotate maybe 1 inch to the right, but don't let the pelvis turn to the right. And then bring that right arm back in front. Make a fist. Pull it back like you're pulling a bow and arrow. Reach that right elbow back and then open the arm any amount. Good. Bring that right arm forward 2 more times. Make a fist. Pull that elbow back. Reach your right arm back, rotating the thoracic spine but not the pelvis. Reach it forward again. 1 more. Make a fist. Pull the elbow back. Open out any amount without turning the pelvis. Come back in front. Lower your hands. We're going to come back to quadruped and lower onto the forearms. So now we'll really feel the forearms ground into the mat. Lift your throat. Find that neutral pelvis. Slide your right foot back. Lift it up by squeezing the glute. Bend the knee, flex the foot, draw those pelvic points in. Start to pulse this right glute. Make these pulses as tiny as you want and really feel the palms Press into the mat, the forearms, the elbows. But think about lifting the core, lifting the throat. Release it down. Come back up onto the hands. Left foot steps through. Low lunge, lift up. Check that upright pelvis. Shoulders stack over the pelvis. Squeeze that right glute. Keep it really active as we reach the arms forward, palms face each other. Make a fist with that left hand. Now you're going to reach this left elbow back. Open out. So we're just twisting the ribs, not twisting the pelvis. Reach that left arm back in front. Squeeze that right glute. Make a fist. Pull that left elbow back. Open out any amount just in the ribs. 2 more times. Left arm reaches forward. Make a fist. Elbow pulls back. Open out toward the left. Keep squeezing that right glute. 1 more. Left arm comes forward. Make a fist. Reach the elbow back. Open it out any amount. Reach it back in front. Lower your hands. Left knee comes back. Lower onto your forearms. Press into the palms. Press into the forearms. Lift your throat. Zipper that pubic bone up toward the belly. Slide your left foot back. Squeeze the glute. Lift the leg up. Not very high. Keep that neutral pelvis. Bend your knee. Flex the foot. Pulse this left glute. Make the pulses as tiny as you need. Try not to drop your head. And really think left glute, left glute. Release that left knee down. We'll take a child's pose. Take any type of child's pose. And really focus on your breath. Feel the rib cage expand front and back as you breathe in. And side to side. Come back into that quadruped position. Right foot will step through. This time, tuck the left toes if that feels good. Lift up and check that upright pelvis. Draw those pelvic points in. We'll reach the arms up this time. Keep that left glute nice and strong. We're going to hinge the upper body forward, but as the upper body starts to come forward toward that right thigh, our right hip crease moves back. So we're really hinging or flexing at that right hip. Use your core to lift back up. If you're tucking those left toes, press into that left big toe. So we're getting lower toward the ground, sending that right hip crease back, left glute on, lift back up. 1 more time, hovering over this right thigh as that right hip crease moves back. Use that left glute to lift back up. Lower your left hand down, bring it right under the shoulder. You can come onto the fingertips as well. If it feels better, you can untuck those left toes. Right arm will reach out to the side and we'll rotate just the rib cage, maybe 1 or 2 inches to the right. Right hip crease moves back. Left ear releases toward the shoulder. Lift the belly up. Stay here or circle this right arm if that feels good. If that left palm is down, really ground that left palm into the mat. Feel that left shoulder blade draw onto the back of the ribs. Lower that right hand. Step that right foot back to quadruped. Left foot steps through. Maybe tuck the right toes. Lift up, pause here, check that the shoulders are over the pelvis, pelvic points are drawing in. Reach the arms up, shoulder blades lift up. Keep the glutes nice and strong. We're going to do that same thing, hinge forward, but the knee doesn't move. So the knee doesn't go over the ankle. The left hip crease moves back as we hover over that left thigh. And then use your core to lift back up. Keep the glutes on, hinge forward. Left hip crease moves back. So left knee doesn't drive forward, the hip moves back. Use your core to lift up. 1 more time, hover over that left thigh. Try not to drop your head. Lift back up. Lower the right hand. Bring the shoulder right over the wrist. Maybe we're on the fingertips. Left hip crease moves back, left arm reaches out. Rotate just the ribs 1 or 2 inches to the left without turning in the pelvis. Lift the belly, right ear releases to the shoulder. Stick with this or circle this left arm if it feels good. Lower that left hand down, step it back to quadruped. Take a few rounds of cat-cow, stretching it out in any way that feels good. Make your way onto your back. And again, we'll ground down into the mat, feeling the back of the skull on the mat, the shoulder blades, and the sacrum. We'll extend the right leg up any amount. Keep the knee bent. We're going to keep that sacrum down on the ground. Externally rotate this right hip for a half happy baby. You can stick with this, or if you want, grab somewhere on that right foot, right leg, wherever you can grab. And if you'd like to go a little bit further into the stretch, start to pull this right knee toward the ground without letting the pelvis turn. So we really want to keep that left hip down, sacrum down, neutral pelvis, drawing those 2 pelvic points in toward each other. Check in with your breath, slow it down if you can. Right ankle will cross over the left thigh. Goalpost your arms, or you can keep them at the sides of your body. Make sure your shoulder blades stay on the mat, so that triple S stays grounded on the mat. Stick with this, or pick up your left foot if it feels good to stretch a little deeper in that right hip. We'll add a little bit of gentle rocking side to side, and really feel that sacrum stay down on the mat as we let the hips rock a little side to side. You can close your eyes if that feels good. Release your left foot down and your right foot. Arms can come back to your sides if you'd like. Left leg extends up. Let the knee bend as much as you'd like, and we'll externally rotate that left hip. So your left knee and left toes are going to move out to the side without letting the pelvis rock to the left. So keep that sacrum down, draw those 2 pelvic points in, grab on somewhere on that left leg if you'd like. If you find that that right hip is lifting up, bring that right palm to your right pelvic point and hold it down. Cross your left ankle over the right thigh. Arms can come along the sides of your body, or goalpost your arms. Keep that triple S down and maybe lift up that right foot. Add a little gentle rocking side to side. Release it down. We're going to bring the right knee in toward the belly or in toward the chest and grab onto this right shin. We want to make sure we don't tip the pelvis and let the sacrum lift. So hold that sacrum down, and we'll start to passively move this right hip into flexion. So we'll start to gently encourage this right thigh a little bit closer to the belly. If it feels good, stick with this. If you'd like to extend that left leg out, so the left hip is in extension, right hip is in flexion, you can take that option. But if that's causing any discomfort in the back of the pelvis or the low back, bend that right or left knee again, bringing the left foot back onto the ground. Bring the feet back to the mat and we'll switch. Left knee comes in toward the chest or belly. Grab onto that left shin. And start to encourage that left thigh a little bit closer to the belly. Stick with this or slide that right leg out if that feels okay on that right hip. Make sure the sacrum stays on the ground, right above the tailbone. Bring the feet back to the mat. Take another few breaths to make any extra movements or stretches that might feel good. Whenever you're ready, come to your Shavasana, any comfortable position on your back. Legs can extend out if that feels good, or keep your knees bent. Even here, try to check in with that triple S. Let yourself just ground down into the mat. Feeling your mat or the ground support you. Let your eyes softly close. Relax your forehead. Soften your jaw. Allow yourself the next few minutes to find some quiet and stillness in your mind and body. Allowing your mind and body to rest here as long as you'd like.